This is the Resilience Code, turning adversity into strength, one story at a time. I am your host, Arbaina Kawilan, and if you ever wanted to share your story, there's a link in my bio. Roots keep us grounded. Storms test us. Branches remind us we don't grow alone. Leaves remind us of what we've had to let go. Blooms remind us of what's possible after loss. And then there's fruit. Fruit is proof. It's what shows up after years of unseen work. But here is the thing. Unlike storms, fruit is something we get to choose. For most of my life, I didn't know that. My first fruits just happened. And they weren't sweet. Marriages that looked like stability on the outside, but hollowed me on the inside. Decisions that kept me alive but didn't feel like living. Even coming to the US, it was supposed to be the dream fruit, but it came with years of estrangement from my kids. That's the kind of fruit you bite into and realize it's not ripe yet. It's bitter. It fills your stomach, but not your soul. And for a long time, I thought that was it. That fruit was just survival. Whatever landed in my hand, that was all I could eat. But slowly, I started to see it differently. I started to realize trees don't just survive storms, they bear fruit. And fruit doesn't just appear, it grows from what you decide to plant. The talk I gave 5 days ago at TEDx Bayshore Boulevard, it didn't fall out of the sky. That seed was planted years ago in the shelter. When I half joked to my sister, I can't wait to get out of this and have a TED talk about it. I didn't know it would ever happen. It was just a way of keeping hope alive. And then came the United Nations. That wasn't random either. It was a childhood dream of mine after watching Angelina Jolie be an ambassador for them. It was a childhood dream of mine to be in those rooms, to have a voice at that table. And suddenly there I was. A good friend of mine who was a programs manager for a nonprofit that basically got me through the United Nations told me that no one deserves to be here more than you. This was after questioning myself and questioning my credentials. And she was right. What's a better credential? Who better to talk about small arms and light weapons than someone who grew up in Maguindanao with guns and conflict as part of our daily life? My United Nations experience gave me audacity. It reminded me that my voice belongs in spaces I once only dreamed about. It made the TEDx experience feel not just possible, but inevitable. So when I stood there on the red dot, it wasn't just about survival anymore. It was the fruit of a seed planted in a storm. Watered by a childhood dream that came true, and harvested so I could feed others who've lived through their own storms. And the wildest part, fruit carries seeds. Since that day, I've been approached by many. Messages have been poured in from people I've never met, telling me they felt seen or heard something they needed just at the right time. That's the fruit I didn't plan for. The kind that grows in places I'll never step foot in. The kind that proves our survival can multiply. So here's the question I want to leave you with. What fruit are you choosing to grow right now? Not the accidental kind. Not the bitter ones that only kept you alive. But the kind that you look and know, I planted this. I tended this. I chose this. Because storms don't last forever. But fruit carries seeds. That's it for today. If it stayed with you, sit with it. If it helped, pass it on. And if you've got something of your own, the link's in my bio. You don't have to fix it. Just name it. And always remember, resilience isn't about pretending you're okay. It's about choosing, again and again, not to be hardened, but to be changed.